That took a wild left turn. What is going on? What?
Cutting that out. We're cutting that
What is happening?
out. My intrusive thoughts came in.
What?
Cutting that out. You're cutting that out. You're cutting that out. If I go back and watch this video and find out you put that in there,
What?
I'll never show my face again.
Why would you say that?
Hey, how y'all doing? How your mama doing? How your daddy doing? My name is Ashley Jazelle, and I go by Jazelle.
And my name is Rikita Michelle. And welcome to our podcast, Who You Talking To? Ooh, child. Y'all don't know this, but it's been a while since we sat down and recorded.
It has.
We're trying to get it together. So what's been going on? We have to catch up. What's been going on?
Job situation.
You have
working hard.
You have one. You have a job.
Getting that paycheck. Getting that money.
So, yeah. How do you
making rent?
Do you want to talk about the job search or no? Because she was
thing about looking for your first job is that when you have no experience, people act stingy, right? So it's really hard for you to find a job when you have no experience, even when they are the most desperate jobs.
Tell me about
that have no employees ever, and there's only one person in the cashier, and they still won't let you in to that job because you have no experience. So I applied to like 23. 3 of them, 3 out of 23 called me for an interview, and 1 offered me a job. Actually, I canceled on the other one. So we don't know how that one would have turned out, but yeah.
But you know, you are quite the determined one. So I knew that you were going to be successful because you were not giving up, which is what you shouldn't do, right? Just keep going, keep applying.
Thought you was going to throw shade. Because the pause.
Yes, I have my fair share of experience with sending out applications and not hearing back. So I feel your pain.
They're like, first of all, if you're not actually going to get back to the employees, maybe put that in there instead of giving people who apply false hopes, saying that you're going to reply and tell them if they are getting an interview or not.
Girl.
You know what I mean?
Yes. You're speaking the cries of the entire workforce in America. So,
workforce?
Yeah, the workforce, people who work.
Oh. Isn't that called like the union?
No, the union is something different. Everybody's not in a union.
What's a union?
I'm not in a union.
What's a union?
A union. It's kind of like a club, so to speak. I don't know how to describe it, but they work for the betterment of the employee. So, for instance, when employees are being treated improperly and they feel like they're treated improperly, they can work, or they can. I don't know much about unions, but this is just my limited understanding. They can work because I've learned about it because Amazon. One of Amazon's.
I learned about the union in school, and that was in like 1897.
So there's different unions, and Amazon, one of the locations in Amazon was just so successful in creating their union. And so what happens is when you create a union and the employees are a part of the union, then they like advocate for the employees. So the company can't just do any old thing and treat the employees any old way, which most companies do.
So they look out for good ethics and morals.
Yes, for the employees.
For the employees.
And so when you're unionized, when you're in a part of a union and when you're unionized, it's usually better. I think there's like fees that are associated with being in a union, which some people frown upon, but I don't know. I've never been in one, so
you should.
I don't think it works like that.
Especially where you work now.
Especially what?
Where you work now.
Well, I don't think it works like that. It's not like I can get a part of a union and then they advocate for me. It's like Holland and Knight. Like all Holland and Knight's employees at large would have to like agree to be unionized or something like that. Yeah, it's
that's a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how's work been going though? Like, you got a job now.
Work was good. Yeah, being a cook, you stay on your feet for so long.
Being a what?
A cook.
Okay, because you said it kind of fast.
You are on your feet for so long. And my first day was a 9-hour shift, so yeah.
Took some getting used to.
Yeah, but after that I was good. Because like my feet and my back, my feet and my lower back were hurting. On that first day, but after that?
Yeah, and I tried to warn her. I said, you're gonna have some things because, work feet, legs, and back is different than being out in the world without a job, feet, legs, and back. And I tried to tell her, I was like, you're going to be standing.
I go to I don't know, I've been to my fair share of protests.
And I tried to tell her. I thought
that I was prepared. So like I was good for like the first 4 or 5 hours. And then after that, it went downhill.
And then, I wasn't expecting them to have her for such long shifts. So she works 8, sometimes 9-hour shifts, and she refuses to take breaks. That's a whole other conversation. So
I just don't feel the need to take breaks.
It's your right as an employee to have a break. So you should exercise your rights.
Right. I just don't feel the need to.
So what was I saying? Oh, the standing up and all of that. So I was telling her like, if you're going to stand up on your feet for long periods of time, you're going to feel it. It's just going to be something different. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same as like going out in the world and being like at an amusement park for 4 hours. It's different than like standing in one place at a job for 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Or in her case, 8 to 9 hours. So, but I say you're pretty used to it.
Yeah.
Right now, by now, right?
Yeah, I am.
Got her first paycheck. We in there.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Anything else been going on with you besides that?
No, nothing else.
Why are you looking like that?
Like what?
That.
Like what?
So what's been going on with me? I just came back from nowhere. Woo! So I've been on vacation. When I say vacation, on vacation from work because I was supposed to go home. I was supposed to go home to Memphis for like 5 nights, 6 nights, something like that. I mean, was very, very much so looking forward to that trip, because you were looking forward to it?
Yes.
You're looking forward to me being gone?
Yes.
Why?
It's never been so quiet in this house for so long. That's why I wanted her gone. I've been looking forward to the quietness.
Who said that you was going to be at home, though?
Of being
by yourself.
By myself.
Who said that was happening?
by myself in this space with just me and my thoughts. It's just so amazing. It's so amazing.
This is what she would have liked. Absolutely not.
So amazing.
You have not been at home by yourself for 6 days straight.
So amazing.
No.
So amazing. Well, I would obviously like get visits,
From who?
My aunt, your sister.
Hello. What kind of business you plan on getting?
We gonna talk about.
That took a wild left turn. What is going on? What?
Cutting that out. We're cutting that out.
What is happening?
My intrusive thoughts came in.
What?
Cutting that out.
Cutting that. You say that.
You're cutting that out. You're cutting that out. If I go back and watch this video and find out you put that in there,
Why?
I'll never shake my face again.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Intrusive thoughts. The world's a crazy place.
Wow. So, anywho, yeah, you wouldn't have been home alone for that long period.
Right, I'll get visits
For that long period of time.
Yeah, that's about it. I'll get visits. She can check on me. Stay here and see what I'm up to for about a couple hours, and then leave so I can have the.
Or you could spend all the days, all 6 days, over her house.
That's the last thing. The last thing that I want to do.
Anyway, child. So, yes, I was supposed to go home to Memphis. I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to the food. I was looking forward to the live music in every venue. I was looking forward to, most importantly, with seeing my friends and people that I haven't seen for a very long time. But unfortunately, the trip didn't work out. So I had to cancel last minute, and I'm sad about it. But I decided to keep the days off work. So I already taking the PTO, and I was like, I had some other things to get done anyway. And so I just took the days off work. So it was a much needed time away from work. I enjoyed it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was around the 4th of July holiday, which, Juneteenth part 2. And so we went to the pool and had a good time and stuff. And
forgot about that.
Yeah, had a good time at the pool. And that's pretty much been my life. Just went back to work yesterday. So
fun times.
It's been crazy.
Sometimes you have a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Along with all the things I had to catch up on, I also, one of my teammates was out of office. She's on PTO. Whenever she's gone,
Who? Your teammate?
Yes. Coworkers?
Right.
Maybe she's on my team. Anyway, whenever she's gone, I have to cover for her, and it's always hectic because the part of what she does, I hate. So, and I actually used to do what she does before I trained her to do it, and I was so glad when I was actually training her to do it for her to take it over because I hate it. I hate doing it. But whenever she is not in the office, I have to cover for her, and it's a particular busy time for this business that she's responsible for. And so, yeah, I had to catch up on all of that and do all of the busy stuff that she had going on while she's out of the office on my first 2 days back. So that was fun.
Great. You know how long she's out? Or
I
is she
don't.
Sick?
No, she's in the military. So I think she might be doing a military thing. I don't know. Hopefully she'll be back Monday because baby. Hopefully she'll be back Monday. What?
She's in the military.
She's in the Air Force?
Oh, yeah. She's not going to be back on Monday. I'm telling you that.
Oh, it's like the reserves. So she does.
She's not going to be back on Monday. Like my math teacher, he was in the reserves. When he was gone, he was definitely gone for a week or 2 weeks at a time. Well,
she's been on our team for a while, so I know kind of how it works with her. Maybe it's different because she's in the Air Force and she's in Florida. So I don't know. I don't know how it works. But yeah, when she does military things, it's only usually a couple days or so. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So
whenever my teacher would go, he would be so stressed before he goes, and so stressed when he comes back. Okay.
He just sounds like a stressful person.
Had it up to here with everyone. If a pin drops, you're getting yelled at.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're caught up, right?
Okay.
Things we've been We've been doing. What do you want to do next? Do you want to go
So
into
much free time during the summer.
so?
Oh my Lord.
What are you gonna do with it?
Well,
Now you have a job.
I feel like there's just so much time for me to not do anything. Kind of losing my mind a little bit.
So,
because during the school year,
mm-hmm.
I have something.
Always.
I always have something to do every second of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yeah. Summertime. It'll be over before you know it, trust. So, do you want to go into the topic, or do you want to do your fun fact?
Oh, fun fact. Put a little fun fact, a little thingy.
Will do.
Right there. So I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
So you know a chef's hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why the hat has like a lot of folds in it?
Is it to something about keeping the fumes?
It's 100 folds to be specific.
Okay. Does it have something to do with keeping the fumes or like the smoke or something away?
No.
Folds in the hat.
It has nothing to do with their environment. Just tell you that.
It has nothing to do with them cooking.
I mean, it has to do with cooking, yeah.
Oh. Are they supposed to use their hat to wipe their hands?
No.
Okay, I'm out of guesses.
Well, it symbolizes something, right?
Okay.
The 100 folds, it symbolizes the 100 ways to cook an egg.
There's 100 ways to cook an egg.
Yeah.
Is this common knowledge? I didn't know there was 100 ways to cook an egg.
I mean, I didn't know it was 100, but I knew it was a lot. I just didn't know it was like, I didn't know it got to the triple digits, but.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you said chef hat, you know what I thought of? You know, when you go to like one of the hibachi places, where they cook right in front of you and stuff, and they throw the egg in the air and they catch it with their hat.
Those are the words of a bougie person.
No.
Right? I haven't been to hibachi.
Yes, you have.
I can count. Let me finish. I haven't been to hibachi that often.
No, okay.
To know whatever she's talking about, I can probably count the amount of times with one hand. How many times I've been to a hibachi place. So, words spoken from a bougie person.
Anyhow,
I don't know what that's like.
I don't think hibachi is bougie.
Right.
I don't think it's heard of that. So, cool. Random fact. All right, let's go into the topic.
100 ways to cook an egg. That's crazy.
Yeah. What's our topic for today?
Our topic for today? Isn't it who can say the N-word?
Yeah, it's about nigga.
Who can or can't say?
Can you say nigga?
Can I during this episode?
No.
What? Have to slide that in there.
No.
I can't?
No.
Why?
We can just say the N-word. I just wanted to say it one time, actually, for the effect of it. But I'm just probably going to continue to say the N-word because this is going on, the interwebs.
Right.
So yeah. But I do say nigga.
All right. So you do your little spiel first.
Okay, who can say the N-word? First of all, we can obviously say it. This is how I feel. And this is just how I feel about the use of it in this country. From my knowledge, it was invented, that word was invented in this country.
I think this country is the only country that uses.
Well, now it's not.
This continent is the only continent that uses that word because people say that in other countries.
They don't say the nigga in the UK?
I was just about to say that. They do say that in the UK. Yeah, they do.
And probably other places as well.
Because
other places as well.
They can't really relate.
They can. I mean, they have racism.
Right, but they're not they haven't been through America's. We know the history behind why they didn't go through that.
Okay.
So
yes. So this is a deep subject, obviously, because on one hand,
what's going on?
on one hand, they didn't go through that, but on the other hand, they still, let's say, for instance, if a black UK person moves over here, you know what I'm saying, they might still get treated as if, because they're black still.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they look black, they get treated as a black. But there are some, caveats, I guess, or some, nuances. That's the word. There are some nuances that.
A lot of them.
That's gonna make me mad. There's a gnat flying around.
So.
There are some nuances, right? Because the UK accent, you know what I'm saying. When you're black and you're not the descendant of a slave in this country, like when you're obviously not the descendant of slaves in this country, such as like if you have an accent from another country, you know what I'm saying. If people know both of your parents were not born here, then there are.
I don't know, because if your parents are immigrants, but if your parents are immigrants, but if you're not an immigrant. Do you think they should be allowed to say it, even though both of their parents aren't from here, but they are from here themselves?
It gets layered. It gets layered. It gets layered. It's like, for sure, for certain, no matter where you are in the world, I feel like you should be able to say it if you're black, right? This is just how I feel.
Right.
If you're black, that means, and
ancestors from Africa, nowhere else.
Yes. And like I said, this gets deep, it gets layered, there's nuances, right? Because we have, everyone is not 100% anything. Do you understand? So we have, biracial people, triracial people, we have.
Not tri. You know what? I wonder how that works.
Yeah. All of this
if you're 33% of 3 different things.
It's never that cut and dry.
Right. But it's
a lot.
So.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Who for certain cannot say the word. Let's start there. Okay? Let's start there. If you're white, obviously.
If you're white.
If you are.
Now let me be clear. Because y'all folks like to stretch it, what y'all consider white and not white. Okay? If your skin looks like this.
Stop. Nobody's skin looks like that.
You cannot say it. If your skin looks like this.
Thank you.
You cannot say it. You understand? I don't care if you're Italian. I don't know. It doesn't matter what your nationality is.
Armenian.
Like, I'm white. I'm not white. I'm Roman. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Whatever exotic form of white you think you are, the answer is no.
Right.
The answer is no.
I'm not white.
You cannot say it. Like, no.
What? What is it? White means that your skin is white.
Now, this
like
is
snow.
all. The reason why this is confusing and can be confusing, and layered and convoluted and like nuanced is because this is all based on race, and race is not a thing, actually. You know what I'm saying? It was made up.
Whole another episode.
Yeah, it's a whole other. I want to go into that, but race is a made up concept. Obviously, it doesn't really mean anything. And so, but because people have treated others poorly based on these made up concepts, then here we are.
We have no choice but to.
Here we are. Now we have to act accordingly.
Right. We have no choice. We have no choice but to incorporate it in our everyday life.
Yeah, because we have gotten treated for centuries differently, based on something that was made up.
Right.
And so, yeah. So
and
now,
it was only made up to scare us. I feel like. It was only made up to. It was only made up to. It was only made up for them to seem superior
Yes,
to everyone else.
But at
that wasn't them.
the root of it was greed and capitalism, as are all things. In this world, the root of most things that are evil and menacing is greed and capitalism. And so, yeah, in order to hoard the wealth and to justify enslaving us, they, you know, they made it up. Anyway, so here we are. White, we've already covered that. Can't say it. If you consider yourself Mexican, Mexican, Eastern Asian, no Asians actually. South.
That's why I said Asian. That's why I said Asian.
Asian, Mexican, Puerto Rican. Now this one, right, can get.
We're gonna get into that.
Okay. Okay. Let's come back to it.
But so, was it the Asian?
Mm-hmm.
That's a no. White, Asian. Who else? White. What are all the races? White, Asian.
Girl, it's made up. Who knows?
Latino.
Who knows? Right? Who knows?
Black, Asian, white, Latino.
That's
it, right?
I guess. Yeah. Because then there's Native people in every region.
Yeah, so. Native Americans. Don't say that. Don't say Native. Indigenous.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, but do you know there's other black people who feel differently than we do? Like some black people don't mind. There's black people who live in close proximity with Mexicans and allow them to say nigga around them. Now this is ludicrous to me. But apparently it's a thing. And I don't understand.
When did you find out this was a thing?
I don't know. I
found out very young and early when I was in Memphis.
I don't remember, but I remember.
Because when I tell you, going to school with a lot of Mexicans, baby.
Oh, she went to school.
They think they are so black.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to me. I don't understand it.
I just know where there are large populations of Mexicans, that's kind of a thing. And, they usually do live in close proximity with black people. And then there's usually a combined kind of community. This is mostly on the West Coast, southern, western region. It's a thing over there. And so, I don't agree with it, but there are some other black people who are okay with it, whatever. So this is an example of that. Not all black people are a monolith. We do not all think the same and breathe the same things. So,
right.
So that's Mexican. Do you want to move on to Puerto Rican and Dominican?
Right. So let me say mine.
Okay.
Thing I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But all of the nuances that go into this has something to do with the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans, Jamaicans,
Dominican,
Hondurans, Brazilians.
Well, I was going to say islands, but then you said Brazil and Honduras, and those aren't islands. But yeah. So.
Right. So all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can be black and Latinx at the same time.
I don't think. Is that an acceptable moniker?
What?
Do they like that?
Do they like that? What do you mean?
The Latinx name. I've heard certain Latin people say that they don't like that title. But anyway, go ahead. That's a caveat. Go ahead.
I just thought that Latinx covers both the A and the O.
It does. So
I wouldn't have to say both. It was just
right. So, go ahead.
You can be both black, Latino or Latino at the same time.
You can say Latinx. It's fine.
Right?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, so you can look like me.
These two things are not
You can look
mutually
like her.
exclusive. You can look darker than the both of us.
Right.
And still be, whatever. Because,
And if you live in America, I feel like if you look like such, then you have the right to say the N-word. Right? But if you look like Dora or Diego,
because there are white Latin people too. Hello.
then it's a no-no.
Here's the thing. All of these areas, South America, Central America, islands, North America, right? Caribbean, all of these areas, right? Where there were native people here. The colonizers, we're talking about mainly England, Spain, France, and Portugal, right? The whites stole people from Africa and brought them here. You see what I'm saying? To those regions that I named. Mm-hmm. And so what you get is you get the native people, you get the white people that brought the black people here for slaves to be enslaved. And then you have the black people, right? And so black people didn't only come to the U.S. Obviously, they went to all these other areas too. So yeah, and then you have, of course, because nobody stays 100% with their own race. You have, mixing of the races. Yeah. And I think in the United States, it's a special it's a little bit different than those other countries because the way that slavery was handled here and the differentiation between black people and white people, the mixing didn't happen as often and as soon as those other areas, which is why in a lot of those other areas, most people look what we would call mixed, right? They have the mixed look.
Dora.
No, I mean, there's some darker mixed people, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, oh yeah.
Because you know what they say, when you're mixed with white and black, you kind of have like a fairer tone. You're not super dark, you're not super light, but you're kind of in the middle, and you have like the curly hair, whatever.
Just because you're mixed doesn't mean that you look it.
Exactly.
Not all mixed people look it.
Exactly. And some mixed people look closer to white. Some mixed people look more dark skinned. And
if you are mixed and you look like this or this, you're not saying the N-word. I don't care if you are 55% black. You're not saying it. When you get pulled over by the cops, they are not going to shoot you. So you're not saying the N-word. Just have to make that clear because they be pushing it.
Yeah, so you think that the people from these areas, from the islands and from South America, who are descendants of the slaves in their region, right, should be able to say it.
And look like us.
Descendants of slaves in the region and look like us?
Yes, they have to look like us. Okay. If they don't look like us, then it's a no-no. Absolutely not. If you look like Dora or Diego. If you look like Queen Elizabeth.
If you look like Jennifer Lopez.
Right. Like Jennifer Lopez. Okay. If you look like Snow White. You can't say it.
It's a no. Right. So yeah, I think we kind of covered the bases there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a real, obviously a touchy subject, and people get all up in arms about it. And
so I think if you're mixed, if you are mixed and you look black, then you can say it. But if you are mixed and you don't look black, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now there are some people, like as I said, not all black people think the same and all that. There's some black people that say that we shouldn't even say it. What do you think about that? Because it comes from
I don't agree, but I understand where they're coming from.
Because it comes from such a derogatory place,
That same teacher I was just talking about, that's a reserve. Mm-hmm. He hates it so, with every fiber in his being.
He hates a word.
Every time somebody in the class says it, it's like he throws the desk at our heads.
That was an exaggeration, right? Yes.
Right.
Say yes.
I don't know, because it just feels like he's about to. Like, the energy, it just feels like he's really ready to pick up and throw. But yeah.
Yeah. So, like she said, I understand where it comes from. Mm-hmm. I understand why people say that.
Like
and I don't.
have the right.
Yes. If I want to say it,
I feel like we have the right.
So sorry about it. You might not like it. I know.
And for the people that are not Black, and you say the N-word, and your excuse is that you grew up around Black people your entire life. That's not.
It's not a good excuse, but then you have to blame. Well, I don't know if blame is the right word, but it's like the Black people that they grew up around obviously allowed them to say the word too. Mm-hmm. And so then it's like, and then they grow up and move on and are around other Black people, and it's gonna look at them crazy if they were come out their mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, it gets a little complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like the N-word has two different definitions depending on whose mouth it comes out of. If it comes out of a white person's mouth, then it's a derogatory term. It can be meant to put us down. But if we say it, it is, I feel like the definition, it is like a person or a friend.
Right. I mean, sometimes when I use it, it's in the negative way too. When I'm specific.
Oh yeah, me too. Absolutely.
So it can be a negative meaning, have a negative meaning behind it. Not the same negative meaning, definitely not the same negative meaning that a white person would have. Like the white person saying it, right. Their negative meaning and my negative meaning, not the same. Not at all. Not the same. So, it's kind of a cultural thing. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
And I feel the same. Well, I mean, I don't think it's really my place to say. Mm-hmm. It's not really my place to say. But I feel the same for all the other derogatory terms for every other race. I feel like they're the only ones that should be allowed to say it. And nobody else.
Yeah, not even the race, but like the derogatory terms for other groups of people, right? Like the LGBTQ community as well, right.
Right.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. It belongs to that group. So sorry about it. You can't have everything.
Right. Now, I can say the only group of people that this doesn't apply to. The whites.
What do you mean?
Right? So, the C word.
Spell it. C-R?
It's something that you eat. It's a Ritz. Okay. I don't want to offend anyone in here.
Okay.
Okay. Even though they're about to get offended within these next 30 seconds. So, that word, I feel like anyone can say. And I feel like
because it's not
white people shouldn't be offended. I mean, the actual definition of it is slave owner.
Is it?
Yeah, is a slave owner.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you find that out?
Google.
You can't believe everything you read on Google. I haven't done my deep dives on that word and where it derived from, but I didn't think it was a real derogatory term. Like, I don't take it.
They do, because they feel like they need to have something like us for whatever reason. But nobody else was that way.
I really don't. It's not that serious to me, because it's the pain that's behind it, right? Mm-hmm. There's no pain behind that term towards a white person. Right. Now, the pain behind the term that is used against us. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Death, blood, pillaging, rape. Do you understand the difference? So, Um, What'd you find out?
See, the whites have taken. This is how you know the whites have taken over, and this is from Wikipedia. Don't trust Wikipedia. And this how you know. The C word, sometimes white C word or white C word again, is a racial slur directed towards white people, used especially with regard to poor rural whites in the southern United States. Although commonly
I've never.
I don't know what that word is. It is also
Which word?
this.
Pejorative.
Right. It is also used in a neutral context, particularly in reference to a native of Florida or Georgia. Nobody says that.
Nobody's using that word. No. Except for the what?
The rednecks. And, you know, the Sundown Sisters.
I feel like that is more of an offensive term than the C word.
Oh, you think so? I don't think so. I thought a redneck was just someone.
You keep saying it.
Okay, I thought the R word was just someone.
Go ahead.
I thought the R word was just a white person, like from the country in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought.
That's kind of what people mean when they say the word, but I think it's still offensive.
And they're like, I don't
to
know, like
the people that we're talking about.
And I thought they were called R-necks because they spend a lot of time in the sun, and their
oh my gosh,
neck
this is going this is going off the rails, going off the rails. But bring it back.
The point is,
bring it back in.
The point is,
reel it back in.
Okay, when a white person calls a black person the N-word, what happens to us is slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, racism.
Well, those are things that have happened.
Right.
Yes.
When we call a white person
any of those terms that we've mentioned,
nothing happens, but you get your little feelings hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It affects them in no other way.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Right.
But do hurt feelings matter? We talked about this in our
Not when it comes to them.
Yes, it does.
In this situation, it really doesn't matter.
It does matter. We talked about being mean in one of our first episodes. Being mean. What is it to be mean and to be nice? Anyway, we're not going to bring that back. So yeah, that went all the way left. So yeah,
there's so many other names that I have in my head.
Yeah,
that I've gotten from other black people.
Yeah, keep them there.
I'm gonna
keep them in your head. Let's do that.
My Lord, everyone's so creative. Everyone's so creative.
Let's move on from that topic and let's talk about.
I wonder how MJ felt.
Let's talk
Frankie.
Let's talk. No. Let's talk about.
MJ's our dog, by the way. Just to let everyone know.
Our dead dog.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I wasn't gonna say it, but she ripped the Band-Aid off there.
So,
right, moving on. RP.
Let's talk about what we've been watching. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
What? Oh, dang! Do we have enough time? We can make it real quick. Do you have a bone to pick this week?
Do I have a bone to pick?
I do, about maintenance. We're gonna get to it.
Oh yeah. So bone to pick or watch first?
Watch.
Okay.
The movie that we watched about the abducted girl.
Oh my God.
You watched it with us.
Terrible. First of all,
The movie was terrible.
the quality.
It was a Lifetime movie. What was it called?
Quality.
The Girl in the Shed or
Yes.
something like that.
The Girl in the Shed.
First of all,
The voiceovers when the camera camera angle went away from the person's like face and like the camera was behind the person and like all that you could go off of was their body language. You could tell that there was no voice coming out of their mouth. It was a voiceover. Terrible, absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but I don't watch Lifetime movies often. You know, I heard it's a thing. It's like there's a club of people who do that. This was on Hulu, I think. It's called Girl in the Shed, The Kidnapping of Abby Hernandez, which is a true story. Wild story. Yeah, she spent what 200 and something days in kidnapped by this man.
Like 8 months.
By this man, kidnapped by this man. First of all, before we get into the story, Ben Savage played the kidnapper.
From Boy Meets World, by the way, if y'all don't know him by his
I was
name.
halfway through the movie, yes, when I realized that I was like, he looks familiar.
Yeah, he played the kidnapper.
And I was like, is that the guy from Boy Meets World? And so then I looked up the cast of Boy Meets World, and what do you know? It is the same guy. And I would have to say that's probably why I couldn't take him seriously as a kidnapper, because all I could think about was like him flirting with Topanga and like doing silly jokes. So, yeah.
Oh my God. I do know his face.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know him.
You used to watch Girl Meets World, right? Did you used to watch that?
Yeah, was he in Girls Meets World too?
He was the dad of the girl. Pretty sure.
So Girls Meets World is about their children.
Yes.
I didn't think any of them had anything to do with the two. I thought they just did a reboot and then changed the gender.
No. It's about their children.
Obviously, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't watch it.
Or you didn't watch Boy Meets World to make the connection.
Yeah, I didn't watch Boy Meets World.
Yeah. So couldn't take him seriously as a kidnapper. Just could not. And so that's about the cast. Back to the story.
Mm-hmm. Not Girl Meets Boy.
I didn't realize, I knew that there some things were left out. I should say that. We're going to try to keep it PG, even though this episode has been wild already.
We're cutting some stuff out. Okay, all right.
So, yeah. I was like, this girl was in captivity by this man. This girl, she was 14 when she was taken, and he was obviously a grown man, and she was kept in captivity by him for months on end, and he didn't try her in any sexual way ever for that whole time. Of course he did, but they left it out. It's a Lifetime movie, PG.
They showed it.
No, they didn't.
In the beginning, when she first got kidnapped, they showed it.
What did they show?
Him about to rape her.
I did.
That's what they showed.
I didn't see. I didn't.
Oh, well, I guess you don't remember.
No, I remember him like throwing her in the room and closing the door. I guess that was supposed to imply throwing somebody on a bed and then closing the bedroom door. They're supposed to imply that maybe that's what he was going to do. But I mean, there's a lot of implications, a lot of guesswork. And I'm not saying that they should have shown it. I was just like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, now I know this man was doing some probably unsightly, unforgivable things to her the entire time she was there. They didn't really delve too much into that. But it's crazy. I wonder how she is mentally today, because it's a true story. Oh, I think at the end it
First
said...
of all, he has issues.
Huh?
First of all, he had issues, according to the movie.
Hold on. Before we get into that, I think at the end it said something that she has a daughter and is happy or something like that. I am interested in knowing her mental state and how she was able to work through being captive by a man for several months. And then she was like trying to befriend him. I was
How she looks like in real life.
I was kind of torn between the way she was acting, if it was something that she if it was something that like she was doing to like try to get him to trust her. Listen.
Sorry.
I couldn't tell the way she was acting, like trying to befriend him and be nice to him and stuff. I couldn't tell like if she was doing it on purpose to try to get him to trust her, or if she had some type of a
Stockholm syndrome.
Happening.
Obviously not. No, I think she did that to get him to trust her and escape.
I don't know, because
according to that movie, that girl, she wanted no parts.
I'm not saying she wanted it, but Stockholm syndrome makes you start to have feelings for like sympathize with the person that's doing you harm. And even at the end, remember when she went back to that horse farm that he had took her to, and she was like, I knew the only way for me to survive this was for him to see that I'm a human. And she said she thinks she was successful in that. And then she also said, I began to see him as a human as well. And I mean,
I saw him as a human too. He's definitely a human. Well, right? He's there.
No, that's not what she meant. Like, to see his humanity, to see that he. That was bad. I don't know what that was. Okay, we gotta hurry up. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. There was a lot. There was a lot. What is going on? There was a lot.
Okay.
To see like the goodness in him, or, to see that he wasn't all bad, I think is what she meant by to see him as a human being. Yeah. Right. So I don't know. I feel like there might have been a little bit of Stockholm syndrome in that. I would love to just hear like maybe an interview of her. I'm sure she just wants to live her life and wants to be left alone. But
there was one.
There was an interview. Well, we're not going to play it right now.
Right.
But, okay, maybe I can look up an interview. That's what he looked like. Yeah, he looks like a kidnapper. So
he looks like Trevor from GTA.
First of all, I'm not into victim blaming at all. It's not my thing. But why on earth at 14 years old would she think it is okay?
He looks like a fish.
To have a random man who you don't know pick you up, get into his car, and say, "Hey, can you give me a ride home?" Why would you think that's okay?
Because it was in New Hampshire, and
it was New Hampshire.
She's not black.
I don't know.
She's not black. In the movie, I thought she was white, but by her last name.
Yeah, it's giving. Is it Hispanic of some kind?
Yeah, it's giving. Yeah, it's giving Latina.
Okay.
And looking at the real photos of her, she looks like Latina. Now in the movie,
she looked Latina. Well, she looked other. Is that offensive? She looked non-white in the movie. I don't like that term. So yeah. What are you gonna say about him being weird, and then we can move on because
him being weird.
You're gonna say something about him being weird in the movie, like that he was weird. You don't remember?
Oh, something was wrong with him. He would get mad over every little thing, and then when every little thing wouldn't go his way, he would throw stuff or like put a gun to her head. I don't know. He was doing the most.
Well, obviously, he doesn't have all his marbles because he took a girl and kept her in captivity for months.
Right.
So. And the way that he got caught, I knew he was going to get caught. First of all, I wasn't rooting for him not to get caught, but I knew that he was going to get caught when he started printing that money. I said, oh yeah, you're going to get caught now because that's dumb. Why would you print $100 bills and then just go on a spree? And then you're not going to get caught. Like, what is happening?
Out of all the bills, you want to do 100, the most noticeable bill.
The ones that people check for.
Right.
Check if they're fake. Like, anyway. I knew that was going to be his downfall, and luckily it was. So anyway, anything else to say about this movie? I just thought it was interesting.
Nothing else to say.
Okay, let's move on to this bone that we got to pick.
Okay, so.
These apartments that I live in, I need to do a bait and switch lawsuit on these apartments because, baby.
We get a lawsuit, and then when we win the lawsuit, we're going to move out of these apartments and into some better ones.
Child, I don't know if any apartment complex is all, unless it's super luxury. But anyway, the maintenance people need to get together. I put in maintenance requests a week ago. Still no one has come by. Our toilets have been running every 30 seconds. Both toilets have been running every 30 seconds for the past several weeks. Mind you, they came out and fixed that issue several weeks ago. And then it was a couple of days after he left, after fixing that issue, that I said he didn't fix it because it's still running. The same thing with the stove. One of the eyes on the stove gets extremely hot no matter what temperature you put it on. You can put it on a 3, it's going to give you a 10. Okay? Notice this, got tired of burning food. That's obviously my favorite eye. Everybody has a favorite eye they like to use on the stove. It's my favorite one. I called him to fix it. What he did was, I have one, the coil stove, So he took the coil part out, went and got a new coil and put it in. And I said, I know some things about how mechanical things work. And I said,
the coil is not the reason behind why it's getting so hot.
No, there's a temperature control issue. And I said this to him as he was doing the
That's not where the heat comes from. Does it come from the coil?
As he was doing the stupid thing of switching out the coil, when I knew it wasn't going to fix the issue, I said, I think there's a temperature control issue, whatever the mechanism is inside of there that controls how hot it gets, is broken because it just goes sky high no matter what. And I know changing out the coil is not going to fix that. And as predicted, it did not fix that.
Right.
So now a week ago, I put in tickets for the same issues that he was supposedly fixed several weeks ago. They have not come back. It's been 7 days, exactly.
Yeah, so we're suing for retaliation and neglect.
And I'm so tired of it. This wall, which y'all might have noticed, has had some changes. They came.
You might be in the way.
I'm sure. Well, anyway, they came and they were trying to find a leak that was happening downstairs. There was water leaking in the apartment under me. So they were coming to try to find a leak, and they came and cut a hole in my wall to find the leak. Did they find it? No, they didn't. They went next door, and they was like, oh, it was the water heater next door. So you cut a hole in my wall for no reason. Okay. So then they didn't.
I feel like before you start destroying stuff, you should check all the surroundings.
Maybe, I don't know. Check all of the water sources that don't require you to cut into a wall. This is just a thought. I don't know. But
they were so quick to do it. And mind you, when they did cut into this apartment, the amount of water bugs or
creatures, all of the creatures from everywhere just decided to swarm our apartment since they cut this hole out.
Yeah.
And and then what they did was, right, they cut the hole out, and they had the piece of the drywall from the cutout, like the rectangular cutout. And so the man who cut the wall out, he set the rectangular pieces back into the hole. And he said, oh yeah, they'll come fix that. And I said, okay. He was the plumber, so I guess I wasn't really expecting him to fix it right then and there because he's not a, wall person. He's a plumber. And so I said, okay, whatever. So he said they're going to come fix it. Did they come fix it? No, they didn't. I had to go complain about it. And then they came and they sent somebody over here to fix the hole in the wall. And then even after that, it's still not completely fixed because he did the first layer or the first part of the process. Then he said he was going to come back and do the rest the next day. he did come back, but he knocked and ran pretty much. Like,
Right? He did. He literally did a ding dong ditch. And when I opened the door, he was going away, and I was like,
it's like,
okay. So I closed the door, and I thought he was gonna like come back. Maybe he forgot something.
he never came back ever. And that was a couple weeks ago.
I don't know.
It's just, these people, they need to get together. It's incredibly frustrating. I just don't like hearing the toilet run every 30 seconds. And it is, I'm not exaggerating.
Issues with this apartment since day one.
I'm not.
It's never ending cycle.
I'm not exaggerating on the 30 seconds because I timed it. Yep, sure did. The toilet runs every 30 seconds. And it's quite annoying. It's quite annoying. So I wish. I don't know if y'all can hear that.
Speak of the devil.
But that's the toilet running.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been our life for the past several weeks.
That was just the tip of the iceberg for the issues we had in this apartment.
Yeah, and we're not gonna dig. We're not gonna dig.
We're not.
This is not the Titanic.
No.
We're not gonna dig for the bottom of the iceberg.
Yeah, we have went over everything that we need to for this episode.
Yeah.
You have anything else to talk about?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything that we want to talk about today. So
okay,
I think it's a good time to wrap. What you think?
All right, yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace.
That's what they be doing, right?
What? I don't.
That's what they do, right?
No, that's not what they be doing.
No, like
they have the actual,
like the start of his.
Well, if you have the actual, what are those things called? The scene starters.
Not the scene starter.
What if this isn't recording? This is my worst fear of all time.
I'm put the
getting up and
I not told you to bring that man in here, and you didn't want to bring him in here.
Still recording. Woo! Woo! Woo!
The I'm gonna put the movie clapper.
A clapper. I think that's what it's called, actually. I think it's called a clapper.
Oh, it's called a clapboard.
Oh, look at me.
It's still recording.
Yes.
So, gonna end that.